To politics now, former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amaechi, says opposition parties can remove President Bola Tinubu from power in 2027. Speaking during an event organized to mark his 60th birthday anniversary, Amaechi said he met Tinubu before the 2023 presidential election and told him that he will not work or vote for him. Amaechi said his decision not to back Tinubu's presidential bid was based on capacity issue. The former Minister of Transportation further said he would have pursued some of the policies of the present administration if he were president. Amaechi said he does not mind submitting to the opposition to oust Tinubu as long as the interest of the nation is placed above individual interests. To discuss this, we're joined by political analyst Henry Olonimoyo. Thank you so much for joining us, Henry, on the news.
Good afternoon, Nigerians.
Good afternoon. Henry, would love to hear from you. What is the current strength of opposition parties like the PDP, Labour Party and NNPP compared to the ruling APC? And how does the strength impact their chances in 2027?
Yes, if you consider the stage that we're at just after the 2023 elections, you would like to say that there was significant strength in the opposition, considering the outcome of the election, with three of the close runner-ups having about 13 million votes compared to the 8 million votes that 8 million plus votes that the president got. You would think that yes, the opposition was strong enough, but of course, in the recent months, you have seen that there has been a collapse of what appears to be the opposition now. We are hearing defections from one side to the other. It's going to look like even these parties are not even in the right state to contest elections, to present candidates for elections. And so clearly, as it stands now, the opposition is really not something strong enough to face the ruling party. And that's why the talk of a coalition becomes much more imperative than ever.
Okay. Now, Henry, is a viable coalition among Nigeria's fragmented opposition realistic at all? Because there's so many crises, emanating from some of these opposition parties themselves, the latest being that from the SDP, also looking at the ideological and regional differences.
Yeah, it's still very possible, as we also know that even the APC itself was based on an alliance that was born out of a shake across the Niger. You had political elements from the north coming to form coalition with people from the south, and it happened. And today they are in office, and I do not see why that cannot happen if the talks to coalition that is ongoing now, if it gets the necessary cooperation it needs, it demands amongst the people who are coming in. There can be, it's very clear, because if you have a government that is empowered that won just over 8 million votes, any strong coalition can outwit them. Also considering the fact that now in the middle of the next election, more people will have to vote who probably just clocked 18 after the last election. That means that there's a younger voting tribe also that will be voting in the next election. That means that this is a voting tribe that needs to be canvassed after. And so this could tip the scale in favor of either the government in power or a coalition that is serious.
All right. Now, how critical are swing states such as Rivers, Lagos, Kano, and Kaduna, especially in determining the 2027 presidential outcome?
Yes. So those swing states, again, that's also a much more serious reason for the government in power to be worried, because if you discover these swing states, if you pick Lagos, for instance, was lost by the government in power. If you pick Kano, was lost by the government in power. Katsina was lost by the government in power. Look at the Abuja also, FCT was lost by the government in power. That tells you something, that if there is a reasonable coalition, then they can outwit the government in power. Whether the government in power has been able to close their ranks and get it right, it remains to be seen. But if you look at these states also, Lagos is still neither here nor there, because in the last few months they had this tussle with the speakership. There's also talk, rumors of disgruntlement among as a fall off from the local government elections that was held in Lagos State. There are issues also in these places also. And if you look at Kano also, there's still some kind of unrest undertones in Kano State. And so these are swing states, as it were. If politically there's dissatisfactions among people, there's still a very strong possibility that if the coalition gets its act right, these states can swing in their favor. And if they swing in their favor, then there'll be a change of government from 2027.
All right. Now, just before we let you go, Henry, how has President Tinubu's, in your view, how has his performance in his first 2 years influenced public opinion ahead of 2027?
Yes. When you're in government, there are indices that appear much more conspicuously to the Nigerian people, to the people. And if you're not careful, if you don't manage those optics right, it will kick you out of office. Things as simple as the cost of goods and services. If those things, if you allow it to skyrocket, it's enough to bring down any government. And that has happened in this government without a very clear plan to whether these things will come back. The price of things have tripled, even quadrupled in some cases. I want to wonder if these prices will ever come down, largely because of the policy decisions taken by this government. And of course, that is probably why the people are not happy with some of, with the administration so far. But again, you look at issues, policies like the tax reforms that this government is trying to bring in. It's a very good one. The autonomy for local government is a good one. But largely, what will determine how people view this government is how it has translated, its policies has translated into the cost of goods and services for the Nigerian people, and which is not a very good tale to tell.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Henry, for your time and speaking on this.
Thank you for inviting me.